Hello again and welcome to another episode of the Franchise Everything podcast. We talk about everything and anything franchising. Today I'm joined by Damien Boehm, the founder of Urban Clean, and Kirk Simpson, who is the GM of Urban Clean commercial cleaning business. Morning, gents.
Morning.
We've already done a little bit of stuff here this morning, so we're going to roll on in this one. It's called the 5 key things that have made Urban Clean the franchise business that it is today. So in this type of thing, I ask you to sort of have a think about and come up with some of the key things that I think, that I know that you'd like to get out there and people would like to know about that really in many ways sets your business apart. So the first one that you came up with was the discovery of the role of direct response marketing in your business. So what does that mean and what was the impact in your business?
All right. Well, I'll set the layout of the land on kind of what it looked like prior. So What is direct response marketing? For us, it is going essentially business to business and presenting our business to them in order to win business.
Yes.
So we're going to offices looking to secure commercial cleaning contracts. So that's what it is. Mm-hmm. Before we managed to find that turning point in the business, we were doing pretty much what traditional FMCG numbers were, which is you'd go and see 30 doors, you get 28 no's, and then the two that
pure
said
volume
yes,
approach.
Yeah, and they were just maybes anyway. And there's what do we do with these maybes?
That's such a fun way to do sales.
And honestly, we never actually did this unless the salespeople were idle. So it wasn't like our first recourse to do marketing. Most of it was on the phone, telemarketing, SEO, a lot of the typical ways to secure
that doesn't differentiate
contracts.
You at all. That doesn't differentiate your offer or what you're doing.
The numbers I was giving you is purely for contrast in how we go about direct marketing now.
Yep.
So you can see what traditionally is done out there and the volumes and why a lot of sales reps are sitting in coffee shops, contemplating the morality, going, I hate my life, because they're just doing no's, no, because they don't have...
It's demoralising.
And they don't have a correct approach, but the business hasn't really armed them for that either. So there's a lot of work to do to get that happening.
So what was the change in the business with that? What was that around? So how did that, why was that necessary to change that approach for you?
Well, because we opened our doors as a franchise, and we were inundated with people buying franchises.
Terrible problem to have.
Yeah, it was it was literally like an avalanche, and we couldn't believe the number. I mean, it was slow going the first year, but then once we got a couple franchisees running, then the word got out, and we started recruiting. Back then, it seemed like big numbers. Like we were recruiting like 4 franchises, 5 franchises a month, and we're like, we're guaranteeing them business. And so the pressure was on us because we needed to find a much more efficient, a much faster way to win and scale at cleaning contract acquisition.
Yep. And that was direct response marketing, face to face into business, knocking on doors and actually seeing people, wasn't it?
And also how do we get them in our pipeline doing so and not just handing a card and never seeing them again almost, because that's another thing that happens. So really, I think the mental change was acknowledging clearly that we weren't selling anything to them that they didn't already have. So our target was somebody who already had commercial cleaning, because we knew that there was quite a large dissatisfaction rate in the industry.
Yep.
So it's really, I think the turning point was, number one, how do we get everyone a proposal? And number two, how do we change the name on the check to us? Because they're currently dissatisfied, a portion of them.
Yep.
How do we get that dissatisfaction and turn that into our customer?
Okay, excellent. And the second one you came up with was moving from more of a national-based model approach to more of a regional master take approach. So can you talk me through what that move, because you were a national-based thing and then you moved to it's a regional structured approach now.
Yeah, that's right. So we had a local base in Brisbane. Then we advertise nationally, and we started getting inquiries nationally. So people, and they're buying the franchise. So our strategy initially was to have sales people set up in each of these in each of the states and start securing cleaning contracts. What we found though is that the kind of support that you can provide a unit franchise on the ground is somewhat limited with that model. So you can win them cleaning contracts, you can give them initial training, but some of the things require that real sort of shoulder-to-shoulder support as a business owner, as entrepreneurs, was really lacking in that. And so when you actually had an entrepreneur who invested in a region and who wanted to develop franchise partners locally, that just added something that was lacking from having a national structure. And obviously that sense, I mean, that's why you get into franchising, right? So it's that sense of local support, and also that sense of ownership. So the difference between having a local entrepreneur on the ground who's like, well, I want to maximize the results of my sales team, of my operations, and my support and the development of my franchises, the kind of solutions and things that come up from that local entrepreneurship, we just saw an exponential sort of relationship between having that local support as opposed to just having a team.
You trying to deliver it from
and also you know from a distance too. So even though it meant in a sense giving away some of the margin, the way that the business accelerated more than compensated.
And when did you make that change?
That we would be 2016, 2017. So a couple
started
of years.
franchise in 2014.
2014.
Right?
So 2016,
2017.
and then that model also went through a number of evolutions to get it to where it is today, it's very different from what it was back in 2016 to 2020. Now, what that model looks like is quite different. So
it's really shaped and defined a lot of the systems and processes as well. So it's been fantastic for the business.
Excellent. So the third thing that you came up with about that of the 5 key things that have made Urban Clean what it is today is and this one always interests me that you talk about, is you develop business owners, not cleaners. So what do you mean by that, and what does that look like?
Yeah, I don't mind jumping in. I don't mind jumping in. When you look at traditional commercial cleaning, the danger is just being seen as a cleaner, not only by a customer, but your own identity. I'm just a cleaner. And really all you're doing is accessing an hourly rate and basically being a cleaner.
It's a commodity type of role.
And it is. It's a very commodity type role. Yeah. And it doesn't help you in any way secure cleaning contracts for long term, by establishing proper relationships as the owner of a business. And that's a transition that we really encourage every franchisee to make, not only through the training, obviously, but personal identity even at the door when they start with a commercial cleaning customer. Right? So they get their first customer in that first month, they really want to move from cleaner to business owner, and then to trusted service provider, or gets all suite of solutions for their customer. So there's a whole change that happens by just shifting the identity from cleaner to business owner. And obviously there's all the systems that go along with it. But business owner and managing and growing an actual business where cleaning is just the mechanic is essential for high margin, long-term retention of customers, building out teams, right? It's huge.
So how does that impact on the type of conversations you have with people looking at cleaning in your cleaning franchise? Because I imagine people aren't coming to it with that sort of mindset initially. So are you having to reframe people when they're talking to you about being interested in commercial cleaning?
Well, I don't mind just having a quick touch on it, is because you get both and we accommodate both.
Yep.
So there's room, and that's the nature of commercial cleaning, is there is room for people that want to have a small mum and dad style owner operator business.
Yep.
But then we've made plenty of room for someone that's entrepreneurial, that wants to come in and grow millions of dollars worth of commercial cleaning contracts. So the kind of conversations will also depend on the size of the business that the particular person wants. But there is usually, if you want to talk about a transition, if someone's coming in thinking, I just want some extra cleaning contracts, a little bit of extra income, around 10 or 15K a month, their eyes will start to open and they can make a decision on whether they want to scale this as a business or keep it as a mum and dad type operation. But we allow both.
That's interesting. The fourth thing that you came up with was your technology adoption. I know you have dug pretty deep into the coffers for technology adoption in your business and development over the years. So talking about that as far as its role and its impact on business management.
So one of the things I identified before we franchised is that there's a couple things that customers were lacking, just because of the low barrier to entry, into cleaning. So anyone with a mop and a bucket can call themselves a cleaner, right? Yep. So the competition is large. So one of the things I did very early in the business was talk to my best customers. So the customers that I wanted more of. And I interviewed them and I started understanding exactly what their pain points are, what a perfect commercial cleaning service would look like to them. And they told me. And one of the big things was transparency. There was actually 6 key things, but transparency, identifying unique things that each business had, and they had communication as an issue. So I started thinking, how do I solve this, not just with a cleaning service, but surely there's technology, there's ways of approaching customers and delivering my service where I could actually solve these issues that they're having. And we were probably the first cleaning company, certainly in Australia, that I was aware of, that developed an app where there was real-time communication. So this was back 2012, 2013. I mean, everyone's got an app now, right? But it was kind of revolutionary back then, and people were like, "Oh, wow! You see, you've actually got something."
It cost you a pretty penny back then too. To be one of those.
Yeah. So
I know what it was like back then.
Yeah, and so basically, every time the cleaners would come, there would be a notification. There would be a report. There was a customizable report depending on what things needed to be identified and tracked and reported on for each clean. And when the cleaners left, there was a notification. So this kind of put us on the map early on because people were like, wow.
People would have been blown away by that service. And that
absolutely.
was through utilising tech.
So that was the start, and then it never stopped. So we started, and we've always had a philosophy around tech, which is we don't the features or the whiz bang pop stuff doesn't really matter. What matters is deliverables. What matters is what does the customer want, or how is it better for our franchisees to operate their business. And so it's been a real big focus in all parts of the business, internally, externally. Even just recently, we've brought out a new method of communication books tied with technology and information. No one else is doing this, so it's always, looking at innovating around using technology as a tool.
So where are you getting the ideas for this? Are you looking overseas, or is it talking to customers mainly, or where do you get the ideas to keep ahead of the curve as far as tech? Because the barriers to entry on tech, for example, in supporting what you do are a lot lower now. So how do you keep ahead of the curve in that?
Absolutely.
So really it's there's a lot of knowledge, there's a lot of industry stuff, but again, I think that might be the wrong question.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what's the right question?
So
okay.
No, I like that. I like that. Throw it back at me.
Yeah. So often people, that's where they say, "Oh, there's what technology can we use? What app?" Well, that's really, technology is just a tool. It's just a hammer. And if you realize that that's all it is, the first thing is saying, the first question and the best question to ask about anything related to this is, how can we serve our customers better, and how can we make business easier for our business partners? Yeah. So the ideas come when we start noticing bottlenecks or frustration points in the business. So we're saying, okay, why is that hard? How come information is so hard to get from here to there? Or what is it that they need? And then there might be a non-tech or low-tech answer. So that's the first thing you want to go to is like, is this a conversation?
Simple answer.
Yeah. Is this better framing, or is this something needs to happen before that happens? So is there a business process that we need to look at first? And then when you realize, wait a moment, you could put a business process in, but to grease the wheels or to make things a lot easier, this would be fantastic. And then that's when you start looking at software solutions or other solutions, because it's got to be there to solve a problem or facilitate business. And that's where I think a lot of businesses come unstuck with technology, is because they start with the question, what tech should we use?
Oh, there's no doubt. And AI is making that even worse. It's like everyone is starting it with, this is what could I do with this AI thing? But you're looking for, you're right, it's the wrong question. It should come from the other direction.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, it's a good answer. And I didn't expect to get one thrown back at me, mate. That was perfect. I love that. The fifth one that you came up with for the 5 key things was an income expectation leap. And you talked about the differences now in the way you look at this from internal to external. So talk me through what you mean by that.
Yeah, great. it wasn't that long ago, I suppose, really, when I think Damien mentioned it earlier, we sort of had a 5,000 a month was an expectation, and we did a 5 plus
for a
5
franchise owner.
For a unit franchise owner, $5,000 worth of additional income plus GST per month, done in the evenings while staying at work.
Okay, so it's part-time franchise or a side hustle franchise sort of thing. Yeah,
and then we still did a 5 plus 5. So you do the first 5 well, you get the next 5, and that was kind of a big franchise back then.
A big franchise in commercial cleaning.
Cleaning, just in our system, because cleaning,
gotcha.
you can have businesses out there in traditional commercial cleaning, staffing models and whatnot, doing millions you've never even heard of. Billions.
Yeah, or not as franchises, individual locations. Yeah.
But in our case, we were sort of looking for that. How do we scale out with a mum and dad business, kind of looking after clients, and we don't need to worry about supervisors and things because it's done at that site level and reducing all the noise. It's being handled by a unit franchise. Well, expectations quickly changed as we realized that, with the right systems and training and support, these guys can take on a lot more very quickly, and they wanted it. All right, so there's no, I want 10, I want 15, I want 20, I want 30, I want 40. And then our expectations, I'll start that again.
Our expectations.
And then our expectations changed on what was not just capable, but what we could deliver our unit franchisees in a shorter amount of time as well. So then we needed to develop systems and processes and things like that.
That's to win more contracts for them.
And to support them in the business to be able to facilitate those cleaning contracts. And we thought, well, hey, listen, right now, if you said to me, what's an average commercial cleaning contract, I'd say, well, you want to be somewhere around 30 grand, but 15 grand should be a normal expectation if you're coming in to operate a mum and dad style business. Well, it used to be 5. And that's changed very quick. And it's changing again. We're now looking at that next level where we're getting a lot more entrepreneurial type franchisees wanting to come and going, how do I do 100 grand a month? How do I do 200 grand a month? And we have opportunities they can purchase immediately to get these guys geared up for that. So
you mentioned something interesting there about previously it was a side hustle type of thing. How has your mindset changed or your thinking changed from originally pitching the franchise to being a side hustle type franchise in the evenings and that sort of stuff to now being something that is effectively full-time? It's like a full-time opportunity that you're selling now, but still giving people the option to say, hey, you can start this part-time and then come in. How's your mindset changed around that? And when did that switch flick? You remember the moment when it flicked?
You realised, wow, I remember because I'll say this honestly, there was a while in the office, and this is early on, we were like, no, this is a great place to be.
Yep.
This is a great place for franchisees to operate. There's low levels of complexity. It's easy for them to deliver a great service. And we thought this is a nice spot to be in, just for what the outcomes that a lot of the unit franchises at that time were looking for, as well as the outcomes in regards to cleaning and the low levels of management required. And then I think for you, it changed when your wife bought a franchise and you saw some of the other franchisees start getting amazing results in their business. You think, and also high satisfaction rates with their customer base.
And high margin.
Yeah.
All along. So usually, traditionally, as you get larger in commercial cleaning contract, you might win $10,000 a month or whatnot, people start wanting to squeeze down on the expense in commercial cleaning. And I didn't find that at all in this. It's like they were willing to spend more and more, and they are. And it's like, no, you want consumables? Yeah. Do you want this stuff?
You're providing that solution to their problems.
Absolutely. And cleaning is the way in. Yep. Which is the wonderful thing. You've got keys and alarm codes. Cleaning's the way into additional service. It's going to be hard for you to be mowing somebody's lawn out the front of a commercial property saying, hey, I can clean your office, but it's very easy to be doing hedging and looking after car parks and doing gardening when you're actually already cleaning their office. You'll find it's the way in.
So you outsource that to others? And
we do some of it ourselves even, just so you know. Some of it we do. So
that's something you learned something new today. Franchisees are doing that as well?
Absolutely. And that's cleaning is the way in. But there's really... And it was a mindset shift. That shift is basically, well, this is just, we need to be able to be gearing up for our unit franchisees to have the system support, know-how and training to be able to expand to whatever volume of commercial cleaning contracts they want. And it could be whatever they want, and we don't care. So, there's a huge mind shift.
Excellent. Lovely way to finish, gents. Damien, Kirk, thanks so much for joining us today, telling us about the 5 key things that have made Urban Clean what it is today.
It's a pleasure.
Excellent, thanks. And that's it for another episode of the Franchise Everything podcast. Please share, like, subscribe, do all that sort of stuff, and we'll catch you in the next one very soon.